Hello, welcome to Bible study time and welcome to my quiet time Bible study. My Hebrew name is Ahava, which is one of the many ways you can say love in the Hebrew language. And this is the time where I invite you to come and join me in the comfort of my prayer room, where we discuss different topics to do with the Most High, Creator God of the universe, the God of all gods, the God of all spirits, the one who is in control of it all. And I have received some of your DMs regarding what's going on in the world and whether or not I'm going to speak about it. Actually, no. I do care to some extent, mainly because I follow current news events because of the field I'm in as a mental health professional. But when it comes to the other things going on in the world, I focus on the Holy Hebrew Bible. And as one of the people that I listen to often likes to say, I like to just mind my covenant business and focus on my personal relationship with the Most High, Creator God of the universe, who will protect the chosen. And so I encourage you to do the same. This week, though, we are going to wrap up our Bible study series about the brain and neuroplasticity. We've talked about the brain and faith, neuroplasticity and spiritual growth, the brain and belief, and things of that nature. And now I want to talk about the brain fantastic. I'm going to share some current research with you guys about the brain and the fantastic way that our Heavenly Father has created and formed us. This is going to be an interesting but very kind of nerdy video about the brain. And as you've heard me quote many times in the book of Psalms 139, the psalmist writes, "I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well." Now, there's a lot of research which was based on a lot of different studies, and some of the research that's very current to me that I focused on for this particular study to update what I spoke about a few years ago was from Dr. Wendy Suzuki, who is a professor of neuroscience and psychology. And her research focuses heavily on memory, attention, brain plasticity, and basically simple daily habits that you can leverage to improve learning along with cognitive ability. One of the most fantastic things to me is the fact that, of course, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And one of the things that we are made with is referred to as the hippocampus in the brain. So the word hippocampus means seahorse, because it's shaped like a circular seahorse. And apparently, according to neuroscientists, it's a very beautiful structure, anatomically beautiful, with sort of intertwining subregions with it. And it's deep in the heart of our brains. So what is it for? Research indicates that there was a famous study, a neurological study, where an individual was operated on way back in the 1950s, and they removed both his hippocampi because he had very terrible epilepsy. And they knew that the hippocampus was basically the genesis of his epileptic condition. His epilepsy was so bad that they decided to just remove one hippocampus. And what happened was immediately he actually lost the ability to form new memories for facts and form new memories regarding any events that, he was taking a part in. So basically, the hippocampus does something with our perceptions, the perceptions that we form that are coming at us every single day, every minute of the day. And for some of them, they have associations that might be emotionally relevant to us, and some of those things that would fall into the category of like facts or events, and then those would get stored into our long-term memory. And so basically That's why our hippocampus is so important. The hippocampus defines our personal histories. It defines who we are, because if we can't remember what we've done, the information we've learned and the events of our lives, it literally changes who we are. So basically, our hippocampus defines who we are. The hippocampus is very, very important for memory, but it doesn't just allow us to put associations together regarding events of what is going on in our lives. It also brings our past information together. So basically, it meshes it all together, all of that information into our long-term memory banks. And a lot of researchers and scientists refer to this whole process, another component of it, they refer to it as our imagination. So without the hippocampus, we're not able to remember events or situations, and we're not even able to imagine them either. In a nutshell, anytime we need to associate things together, either for our past or present or our future, we are using our hippocampus, and it takes on a huge role in our cognitive lives. Neuroscientists are still studying it in society. And, it's just another example of the fact that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. On a side note, researchers still don't know exactly what's going on. They don't understand the specifics of it because they're not quite sure if our long-term memories are stored in the cortex or the hippocampus. And if they are stored in the hippocampus, they still don't know for how long. So there's still a lot left that the Most High Creator God has not revealed. Also, we are fantastically made, and we have fantastic brains, that our Creator has given us. And He's given our brains the ability to cultivate foundational habits. He's also given us the ability to enhance our own brain performance by engaging in certain habits. And we've previously spoken about some of the research regarding William James on this channel and in this series. And there are strategies that we can use to make our brains basically work better, such as cold stimulus therapy. I just feel cold saying that. Cold baths and cold like ice baths and things of that nature are kind of like a trend now all over the internet. And there's a scientific reason why. With cold stimulus therapy, in a nutshell, it involves a lot of adrenaline from the adrenals. New neuroimaging reveals that with this cold stimulus therapy, epinephrine and norepinephrine, are released from the locus coeruleus, which is a brain structure in the back of the brain. And they are referred to by many as kind of like a wake-up chemical, which work as like sprinklers in the brain. So with this cold therapy, there's a long arc on dopamine release, which can last for up to 5 hours. This is why cold therapy can become addictive in a good way, because one's mood will improve from this release of chemicals in the brain, and it also allows one to feel very, very alert. I do want to try cold therapy, but I've been putting it off because I really do not feel like taking a cold shower or immersing myself in a bath of ice water. But if any of you guys have tried it, please let me know, send me a DM and let me know how it worked out. I haven't heard anything negative about it. Like, people actually feel amazing after they engage in it. And it just speaks to the fact that, like, we are created in such an amazing way. Like cold therapy, all you are doing is immersing yourself in ice water, which is once again something very natural. And it speaks to the fact that the Most High Creator God has given us access to things that we don't necessarily have to purchase, that can literally help heal our bodies and improve, our brain function. Now, when it comes to the brain and memory, exercise is vital. And as I've previously shared, I exercise daily, and I'm actually coming up to my year anniversary of walking for 2 hours every day, because I started it last August. Now, every single time we move our bodies, we are releasing a whole bunch of neurochemicals. The good mood comes from dopamine and serotonin and noradrenaline. But the thing that gets released also, particularly with aerobic exercise, is a growth factor called brain-derived neurotropic factor, also referred to as BDNF. And BDNF is so very important because what it does is it goes directly into our hippocampus and it helps brand new brain cells grow in our hippocampus. And we all have that. Research indicates that even if you are a couch potato, you can get new brain cells in your hippocampus to grow. But when we exercise regularly, we are giving our hippocampus a boost, so to speak, with this regular BDNF. So what does it mean? It means that we all have the capacity to grow a bigger, fatter, fluffier hippocampus. And every single time we move our bodies, it's like giving our brain this wonderful kind of like bubble bath of noradrenaline, dopamine, serotonin, and also growth factors. And we can do this with 30 to 45 minutes of cardiovascular exercise daily, chosen ones. It really does not matter what type of cardio it is, as long as your heart rate is getting up there. The prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus will experience positive long-term effects. Another bonus is that with this daily exercise, we can get better at shifting and focusing our attention. And this is really important, especially in today's society where because we are exposed to so many things via social media and so many distractions, engaging in an activity where you can focus your attention in today's society can be a really useful tool to have. What is also fantastic is that research indicates that 10 minutes of walking is all you need to do to engage in, to begin to release these brain-altering chemicals. So as I mentioned, it's called BDNF. So what is exactly going on with this BDNF? What is happening is that there are two pathways that have been studied about how you go from moving your body to more BDNF, that neurotrophin that's increasing the growth of new hippocampal brain cells. The two pathways are the following. One is a myokine, spelled M-Y-O-K-I-N-E, which is a protein released by the muscles and not your heart. These are striated muscles in your body. Research studies have shown that running produced more of this myokine and released the myokine past the blood-brain barrier. So this myokine made it into the very protected bloodstream inside of the brain. And that stimulated the release of BDNF, or it stimulates the release of BDNF in the brain, which is the very first pathway. The next pathway comes through the liver because exercise is stress generally. How do we know that? Well, cortisol is released kind of whenever we exercise. We need that sugar in our blood, and so that's how the physiological mechanisms work. And there is a ketone, beta hydroxybutyrate, that we've known for a very long time gets released by the liver during exercise. And we also know that this particular ketone passes the blood-brain barrier, which is another stimulant for BDNF. The final common pathway seems to be that BDNF stimulation is in the hippocampus. It's probably not the only one, but it is the one that has been studied most clearly. So it comes from all of our physiological systems, our muscles working, our liver responding to the stress of exercise. And so what's going on is it's giving more BDNF precursors to get into our brain to cause the upspike in BDNF. Now, there is some debate about whether or not we can create new neurons, and we've already spoken in detail about the fact that we can create new neural pathways in the brain, but actually being able to create new neurons, scientific research, they kind of debate this, right? But there is some research that is not heavily disputed, which indicates in a Rusty Gage study, and I encourage you to look that up, that there were actually new neurons born in adult human brains well into the 9th decade, into the 90s. And this is fantastic when you think of those afflicted with like diseases such as dementia and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Now, when it comes to exercise and memory, this reflects that we all can have new neuron growth as we age. Exercise is of vital importance to brain health. Of course, I'm summarizing here, but basically what occurs is if someone was just going to engage in exercising one time, right? When you engage in a one-off exercise session, with a 30 to 45 minute exercise session, what you actually get is a mood boost. You also receive improved prefrontal function and significant improvements in reaction time. So your speed at responding, often a motor kind of cognitive motor response, is improved. Irrespective of your age, everybody will experience decreased anxiety and depression, which in today's uncertain climate is very, very important. So it's not just decreasing your anxiety and depression, but decreasing your hostility levels, making the world a better place. When it comes to energy, the feeling of energy also goes up. So these are consistent effects when you engage in exercise and things of that nature. And this is all occurring with the release of those chemicals in the brain, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And one of the things that the Most High Creator God has done for us is He has given us fantastic brains. Now, we've already discussed meditation on this channel, but I just wanted to reiterate the fact that when I'm speaking about meditation, I'm not talking about anything like transcendental meditation or the whole concept of emptying your mind and waiting till you hear a voice. That's not what we believe from the Holy Hebrew Bible. We believe in meditating on the word of the Most High Creator God. So 10 minutes of meditation can significantly decrease the amount of cortisol during a stressful situation. So before I end this interesting video, let me share some scripture with you that I use to meditate on. Speaking of meditation from a Hebraic biblical perspective, focusing on the word of the Most High Creator God of the universe from the Holy Hebrew Bible. So let's turn to the book of Psalms and read chapter 55. Let me just turn that off. Psalms chapter 55, and then we can meditate on some of this. And Psalms, for those of you who are new, is in the Old Testament, beginning in verse number 1. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not thyself from my supplication. Attend unto me and hear me. I mourn in my complaint and make a noise because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppressor of the wicked. For they cast iniquity upon me, and in wrath they hate me. My heart is sore pained within me, and the terrors of death are fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling are come upon me, and horror hath overwhelmed me. And I said, Oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest. Lo, then would I wander far off and remain in the wilderness. I would hasten my escape from the windy storm and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, and divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go about it upon the walls thereof. Mischief also and sorrow are in the midst of it. Wickedness is in the midst thereof. Deceit and guile depart not from her streets. For it was not an enemy that reproached me, that I could have borne it, neither was it he that hateth me, that did magnify himself against me, then I would have hid myself from him. But it was thou, a man, mine equal, my guide, and mine acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together, and walked unto the house of God in company. Let death seize upon him, and let them go down quick into hell, for wickedness is in their dwellings, and among them. As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me, evening and morning and at noon. And will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He hath delivered my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many with me. God shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old, because they have no changes. Therefore they fear not God. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. But thou, O God, shall bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee. This brings me to the end of my reading, and before I say goodbye, I want to remind you, chosen ones, that the Most High Creator God loves all of his children.